Well, I'm with the chairman of the trustees of Milntown, Charles Guard, and we're in the library. We've done an item which sits over there in the corner, this beautiful table/chair, but I really thought it was worthwhile going into more detail, Charles, with you about this room, because I know you've done a lot of work. When you inherited this, it looked a little different.
When I became a trustee, it was very, very different. It was the private house, of course, of the late Sir Clive Edwards, who's left it to the nation, and we trustees are now trying to develop it, having built a cafe and so on. This part of the house dates to 1750, and we have a little sketch of what it looked like at that time. But when His Honour Deemster Christian took over in 1830, he put this fantastic front on and built this library and made it what we know it is today. A stunning achievement. I'd love to know who his builders were, because we've been working for months just getting the porch fixed. But he did the whole of this in 2 or 3 years. Absolutely stunning.
So when you decided to put it back to what it was, did you pick a particular time period? Because it must have changed over those.
That's a very good question. I mean, I'm not criticising Sir Clive. It was his private house and he decorated it as he wanted. But it's very 1970s, or it was. And if you look at the picture of that period, you'll see. We decided gradually on the ground floor, when money becomes available, we're going to put the rooms back to 1830. So I'm very pleased to be advised by Mervyn Stokes on this, who's an expert, as you know, on interiors. We got the British Encyclopedia of Interiors and we went to the 1830s page. Yes. And we got the idea for these wonderful curtains, and the pelmets have all been handmade in wood and plaster.
Oh right, so they're not original, because they look fantastic.
No, these have only been up a year.
Wow. This
is all, and the curtains have been made specially for us. We went to Watts of Westminster, who print all the wallpapers for the House of Commons, and they printed us rolls of this gold paper, which you will actually see in the House of Commons, designed by Augustus Pugin, and it's the same period, the 1830s.
But without the lead paint or anything that in those days was dodgy about things like that, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, actually all these curtains have been properly fireproofed and everything. So everything's up to a modern standard, yes.
Not cheap.
Not cheap, no. We're very pleased, if I may say, to be sponsored by Tower Insurance in this room. We couldn't have done it without them. The tassels and the braids alone were a number of thousands of pounds. But if you want quality, if you're going to do the job properly, Deemster Christian was an immensely wealthy man. His wife spent a lot of her time in Bath. She'd have been very sophisticated. I think they'd have had the very latest and the very best here. So we took out Sir Clive's china. We're displaying that elsewhere. And we've put lots of legal books in here because His Honour was, of course, the first Deemster. He will have written his letters and his court judgments in this very room. And we've taken it back to what it would have been like as his library.
And this table, has this got any significance?
We bought this in the sale room, but it is a genuine period piece from the 1830s. It's been fantastically restored. It's a Gothic table, and the chairs go with it, and they're slightly later. They're like 2 years old, but we've had them stained in the same colour. They are Gothic, and I think the room, we still need a bit more furniture, but we're going in the right direction.
And you've got the portrait over the mantelpiece. That is anyone special?
That, yeah, well, it's one of the Christian family from the late 18th century. People really did wear wigs like that, living here. It's hard to imagine people walking around in the breeches and the frock coats and the wigs, but they did. That's how they dressed in those days. So he is one of the Christian family.
Well, do people get advantage to see this on a regular basis? I mean, what's the opening hours here these days? Well,
in the summer, from spring right through to autumn, we have 2 house tours a week on a Wednesday afternoon and a Saturday afternoon. Unfortunately, we can't let people just wander around all day because, unlike the National Trust, we have a wonderful team of volunteers, but not enough to man the house, every room, every day. So we do guided tours, and those are probably the best because then you get told all the history.
Fine. And I should say there's a cafe there. People can come and use that as well because it's lovely.
There is a wonderful cafe, and of course 15 acres of what must be the best gardens on the Isle of Man. I mean, if you're here in the spring, it's just spectacular.